with Jeffrey, we had some really specific ideas about stuff we wanted to do, and really, to your credit, the three of us fought very hard to do things that most people don't do in science exhibits.
Like get wet.
Like get wet. That was huge. That was months of fighting.
It was on the cutting block 5 times, like really 5 times. It was out, and then we brought it back.
So. Actually, and amazingly, we got almost everything in. I will tell you one thing that didn't make the exhibit.
Okay.
So we did an episode early on in Mythbusters about some difficult subject matter, but we handled it in a tasteful way. And Discovery said, well, clearly you can do kind of anything. So is there an episode you'd love to do? And we said, yeah, we'd love to do a whole episode about farts. And Discovery said, okay, but you're not allowed to say the word fart. And I said, can I say my second favorite, which is Chanel number 2? They said, no, you have to say flatus or flatus. And when we did that episode, we discovered that your average gaseous excretion is composed of some methyl mercaptans and hydrogen sulfide. Those are the 2 major components. And what's amazing, we bought some canisters of each. And when you smell either one, hydrogen sulfide smells like rotten eggs, and methyl mercaptans smell a little like rotting meat. But when you put them together, it's instantly a fart. It's hilarious how quickly you're like, oh, somebody farted. And so Jamie really pitched hard for a vending machine in which you could receive your own fart in a sealed balloon. And for some reason, we were not able to get that one going.
I think that would have been a hot seller.
We're still trying.
Wow. So tell me about one of your favorite experiences in the exhibit. I mean, do you have a favorite or a couple that or you feel are just like, you're so thrilled that they're being featured for the public?
Actually, I love running in the rain. I love the idea that we were able to make it rain in museums all over the country and get people to run this experiment repeatedly. I'm particularly fond of throwing playing cards, though. And, I first learned to throw playing cards. I was 12 years old. When I was 13, I saw playing card throwing master Ricky Jay hurl cards hundreds of feet at the International Jugglers Convention. Before I discovered girls. And so to me, like that episode, Jamie is still finding playing cards in the rafters of his shop from that episode, and we filmed it in 2004.
Well, I think you actually inspired a group of kids in America's Got Talent who became card throwers.
Really?
They were like among the finalists.
I didn't see that.
Season.
Oh, we're going to have to look that up. You have a favorite?
I have a few favorites. But I think that Airplane on a Conveyor Belt is one of my favorites. And it's one of those that, although when you see it out there, you don't really understand how difficult it was to create a conveyor belt in a museum with an airplane that actually takes off from it. So creating a circular conveyor belt, once that happened, it became easy to interact with. But coming up with that idea was months in the making. But also just the elegance of that interactive, just seeing the car moving around the table, seeing that ground speed, and then the conveyor belt turning on, the car slowing down, and then the airplane taking off with no effort at all. I mean, it just proves the point to no end.
Yeah. Well, and this is a difficulty we ran into on Mythbusters. With Airplane on a Conveyor Belt, it's a very confusing myth when it's first presented to you, that an airplane trying to take off on a runway that's a conveyor belt running in the opposite direction, will it take off? But the problem is once you actually understand how to phrase it and how to parse it in your head, it's very difficult to remember not understanding it. And as storytellers, and I tell stories on television, Jeffrey tells stories in museums, you have to constantly put yourself back in the mind of not knowing in order to give the viewer the gift of going away with some understanding. So there were a lot of preliminary designs of Airplane on a Conveyor Belt that had a hard time taking that into account. So to the initiated, it made sense, but you had to think like the completely uninitiated. So that was a lot of our conversations were like, wait a minute. Okay, if someone sees this and here's what they don't understand, how do we address that? And that actually was thrilling. It was just like working on an episode of Mythbusters.
So how did you come up with the exhibit where